When you go for something, it's a plan A. Why the hell would you want a plan B? Do you want this or not? You're either in or you're out. You're either pregnant or you're not. There's no middle ground here. I mean, and everybody a couple of years ago in America used to say the same thing to me. Well, you can't be president of the United States. Let's forget the political views for a second. We had a businessman, albeit bad or good, I don't get into that, a businessman running the country as a politician. Why? The mindset. Because he believed he could do it, therefore everybody else believed he could do it.
What is up, Impact Heroes? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rick Ornelas. Thank you for spending some time with us today because we know time's a valuable resource and we're going to make it worth your while. I appreciate each and every one of you, not just for listening, but for who you are. I know you're sparking change to make the world a better place every day, and I am humbled and grateful for your efforts. It takes all of us doing our part to spread positive change, and that's what this show is all about. Motivating you with stories of struggle, courage, and hope to empower you to make a difference in your life and the lives of others.
Are you interested in having Rick speak at your event or business? Here is what others have to say.
Did not know his story, and it was so inspirational, and his presence on stage, his authenticity was just incredible.
I absolutely loved his performance. It made me feel some type of way.
If you're looking for a speaker for your next event, hire Rick. I promise you this, you will not be disappointed.
Visit rickornelas.com to book him today.
Welcome back, Impact Heroes. Today we have the pleasure of speaking to our latest iSpark Change social impact hero, and he is a special individual indeed. Our guest is a recovery expert, having gone from desperate and homeless himself to helping over 5,000 addicts and alcoholics find the solution of permanent recovery. He exemplifies this through his popular catchphrase, step out of the disease and into the solution. He's someone who understands the importance of purpose in sharing our unique gifts with the world, which he does in his work with patients every day. He holds a PhD in psychology from Oxford University Trinity College and a PhD of psychology and behavioral science from the University of Southampton, in addition to numerous certifications. Wow, I feel like I need to go back to school. He's a published author, dynamic speaker, podcast and radio host, mental wellness specialist, and business coach, among many other things. He's just an all-around great human being and someone who is passionate about helping people find their aha moment to live the life of their dreams. He can help you understand the neural pathways and science to achieving success, which I can't wait to dive into myself. Please welcome the authentic, good-looking, and inspiring guy who choose, Dr. Robb Kelly.
Hey guys, good morning. Thank you, Rick. It's going to be awesome. Thank you for having me on. It's such a pleasure. I mean it.
Yeah, it's thank you so much for being on, Dr. Robb. I hope that you are sitting a little taller and you feel a little better after that intro, especially the cool shoes part and the big flash of the big guns there. I can see you've been working out, looking good.
Yeah, get to the gym. I wanted to be the best 61 I could ever be. And a year ago, I set out that and I've lost 100 pounds and really firming up and just loving life, It's just, I want to do it really for aesthetic looks. I wanted to do it to make sure that I was the best person I could be. I think that's really important today because I need to change lives on a daily basis, Rick, and I know you're the same. And I just thought I had to be in the best shape of my life to do that. So it's all working out. Yeah, I'm really happy and blessed.
Well, I know you're changing lives. I know you look great, and I know you're going to be around for a long time. So I have a question for you. And actually, I've never asked this question of anyone on the podcast, but since you said what you said, I'm going to ask a different question than I always start out with, which is about, being a hero. But what I want to ask is, so you said you're 61, you want to serve many people, you want to do the work that you want to do. Do you want to live to be 100?
Without a doubt, yeah. I think, and people smile when other people say that, but I'm from the background that if we eat properly, get plenty of oxygen, drink lots of water, lots of exercise, and the 4 chemicals in the brain we need fire every single day, and you can live a lot longer than people have been living in the past because we just eat processed food all the time that's sprayed in cornstarch, and it's killing us. So yeah, definitely 105 would be nice.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you. I share those same beliefs, and I've I don't know if I mentioned this when I had the fortunate, luck of meeting you at an event recently, but I am someone that, believes I will live to be 100 plus, that taking the steps that I can in life to live my healthiest and best life, and has immersed myself in reading and studying of longevity and health span and all these things. So to hear you say that's very refreshing, because I know the mental aspect is so important to so many people, because it's one thing to live to 100, but if you can't remember anything, or you're in a home and you can't take care of yourself, then that's fruitless, right? But so tell me about and this may dive off into a whole side tangent, but tell me about some of the things that people can do to stay mentally young.
First thing is real easy, which we found out over the last 10 years, is oxygen. We only breathe 25% of what we should be breathing as a human being, like this. We don't take in, and we never fill our lungs. When oxygen is present in the body, no ailments, cancers, or illnesses can grow any further than they already have. So it blocks any illnesses. Every illness, sickness, and cancers grow in a hypoxic state, in a hypoxic area, which means there's no oxygen there. 10 morning, 10 noon, 10 tonight, we'll stop that. So take that oxygen in every morning, really deep breaths. You will live longer, believe me. And then just keep the mind active. Try and eat at least 1, 2, 3 times a day, more natural foods, more core foods rather than tin processed foods. Start eating more raw vegetables, stuff like that. And you will live a lot longer. That's just the way it is. Be at peace with yourself. Don't carry resentments around, guys. That Johnny at work, it's like you drinking poison and expecting him to die, because that's killing you on a daily basis. Get rid of that, make your peace with that, and live and laugh. Laugh every day. It's really hard to walk around with a smile on your face every day, but you walk into a room with 10 people there and you smile, 10 people will smile back. You walk in with a frown on your face, 10 people will frown back. It's unbelievable. So everybody wants to mimic each other with the mirroring part of the brain. So if you do them, couple of things that I've mentioned, then you will be a lot happier. And the mind, which we'll get into shortly, like Rick said, I want to live to 100. I want to be a millionaire. All that's possible. Don't ever think for a second it's not possible. You've just got to be in the right mindset. So are you mindful or are you mindful?
Bam. If whoever's listening, listens to this podcast, if they didn't get value in those first 3 minutes of the show, I don't know where they're going to get, more value than that. So thank you for sharing that. I thought, hey, why not just ask that question? And I remember, it reminds me of that event that I met you at. You had us do that breath, right? You had us do those long breaths, those 10 breaths, and we all felt great, and we were all rejuvenated and alive. And I could tell you it works just from doing it that one time. And so thank you for sharing that.
And people don't think that's true, but most people who smoke in the morning, they get up at the first cigarette, they think it's a cigarette. Most of it is the oxygen we take in. We go to the gym. Why do we feel good? And it produces endorphins, because they're taking oxygen in. You're regenerating the whole body, the brain, and everything that's not been stimulated before with oxygen. So we do feel amazing.
Fantastic. Well, like I said, our audience is going to love those tips, and hopefully they put them to use immediately and start making those a regular part of their lives. And then, we'll all live to 100, which would be a great thing. So one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show, other than, I thought you were really cool when I met you, is that I see you as someone who is spreading positive change in the world, someone that is making a positive impact on others and on humanity, what I call a social impact hero. Okay, by my definition, someone that is really making a difference for others. So first question, of course, for you, it was the second question, but first question I always ask people on this show, my guest, is, do you see yourself as a hero?
I want to just say yes, but I've got to preempt that, because I thought yes was very egoistic for many years, but you define hero, you'll ask me, and here's how I define a hero. Somebody who's making an impact in somebody else's life. That's a hero to me. Someone who's a great dad, someone who's a great son, someone who's a great worker, great footballer. It doesn't define that hero. And when you take it right down, so everyone's a hero. So yes, definitely I'm a hero. I get joy out of helping people, especially less unfortunate than me. That's my goal in life. My goal, you know, the money and the TV and the books and all that stuff I do, it keeps my wife happy and it pays the mortgage. How I get paid is to be that hero, to go up to that woman in the gas station who's trying to squeeze $5 and she's got gas and she's got 4 kids in the back. What's it to me to walk over, fill the tank, give her $100 and say hi to the kids? It's nothing. It's 5 minutes out my day. That's what I live for. So yes, definitely, but not in the egoistic way, believe me. It took a long time to get here.
So I think it's important. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's important for our audience to understand. I mean, I know your story, but I think it's very important for them to understand that what you've had to go through to become, you know, who you are today and to become that hero and be able to have that impact. And so I'd like you to share, you know, every hero has their origin story of where they come from and how they've gotten there. So if you can share, how did you first get on that journey towards, you know, becoming that impact hero and, you know, and doing the work that you're doing today?
Well, if you look at how I was brought up in a very poor household, lower class, working class, lower class though, didn't have any money around for extra stuff. We just had money around for the basics, which was food and school uniforms, and electricity and gas. My dad was worked for the gas company, and my mom used to clean other people's houses. And I always took a chip on my shoulder about that because the guys I hung around with, their moms were attorneys and dads were CEOs. So I always carried that around. So I wanted to break out of that arena of you wake up, you get up in the morning, you go to work, you come home, you have 2 kids, you have a pint at the bar on the way home and you go to bed, and that's your life. I didn't want that. I really didn't. So with that going on as well, at the age of 9, I took my first drink of alcohol, which I know now, but then that it set off my alcoholic tendencies and my alcoholism as a whole. So from that age of 9, I remember exactly where I was. I was on stage playing bass guitar with my musical family in Liverpool, United Kingdom. And my uncle said, I was so nervous as a kid, take this beer. I drank the beer and the whole world changed right there and then for me. But after that, over the next 10, 20 years, horrible things happened with my alcoholism. You know, I lost my houses, I lost my cars, I lost my children, my wife, my parents, my brother and sister, and I became homeless. And that's from like a, you know, $1 million house to homeless. You might think, how does that happen? It's alcoholism and addiction. That's how it happens. Now, alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism and the same with drugs. See, I never had a drinking problem. I had a thinking problem is what I had. I would always self-sabotage because I never thought I was good enough. So when I started mixing with these people, when I went to Oxford University, the first thing I remember from there is we sat down for dinner, all uniform, and there was 5 or 6 knives, 5 or 6 forks on each side, and I freaked out because I'd never seen more than 1 knife and fork. So through that, I knew I wanted to better myself. When I lost everything, became homeless, I knew that if I ever got off the streets, that I'd spend the rest of my life helping people like me, because nobody understood me or my family. Nobody knew that alcoholism offended the family. Nobody knew that alcoholism mostly comes from childhood trauma, you know, and these are the things. I went to the doctors, no idea, go to AA. Or anything else, medical fraternity is still baffled. So I set on that journey, mostly to help other people. Not to get rich, not to, you know, just to help other people. And a long time I did this for nothing. And I took on that role of nobody knows what they're doing pertaining to this area. So I'm gonna conquer that area and do something that nobody else has ever done.
Well, that's incredible. And I remember hearing your story the first time myself and thinking, you know, it's truly, you know, not to be cliche, but it's truly that rags to riches kind of story, or even rags to riches and, you know, to homeless and back again. And I think that in that kind of Hollywood cliche of how that happens, I think most people miss the intricacies of what is going on in the individual themselves, is what kind of transformation has to happen in the individual to truly get to where they are, to get out of that depths of their addiction. What was the main catalyst to where you said, okay, I'm drawing the line in the sand, I'm stopping, this is where the drinking stops, this is where I'm going to change my life?
The only problem with alcoholism is you never think you have alcoholism. So 14 months on the street, I never thought I had an alcohol problem. So this is what I think in general. The mind, the saying, when I make my mind up to do something, is more powerful than you think. The mind sits inside the brain. It's two entities. One you can see, touch, the other one is energy. But everything comes from the mind, the mindset. The mind can change everything around you. So whether you think you're going to win or you think you're going to lose, you're both right on two occasions. So the idea is to always have a plan A but no plan B. So make sure the brain generates the energy into the neural pathways of the brain and then directs them for success. So everything is mindset. So again, are you mindful or mindful? If your mind's full of stuff, of the daily activity of what everybody has to do, the work, the family, the house, the cars, and you're not resetting that mindset for new stuff coming in, then you're never going to achieve anything. So really setting your mind, you can be the best teacher, the best CEO, the best father. It makes no difference. You concentrate on that, you visualize it, then you walk over and you take the position for that success that you want. But it all starts with the mind.
And that's what I've seen you demonstrate with different individuals, and how you can take people from, homeless to being millionaires. What is something, because something really stood out to what you said about not having a plan B. And so often in today's world, I think people, and I've heard one of my daughters say it, with a situation with her major and everything. She's like, oh, well, you got to have the plan B and everything. And I know so many people, they think, oh, it's part of planning. So, I need to plan so that if this doesn't work, then I'll try this and I'll do this. And it's part of planning. So what would you say to those people that think, well, no, I want to be able to plan things out so I can pivot when something happens? What would you say to them?
The mindset, when you set your mind to do something, plan A will always succeed unless you don't want it to. If you have a plan B, forget about plan A. It's never going to work. It's never, ever going to, because you've got a backup. The mind loves backup. The brain loves a backup. Well, if this doesn't happen, I can always, why doesn't that not happen? I'll tell you, because you've give up on yourself. You don't think you're good enough. As human beings, we're never going to be tall enough, thin enough, blonde enough, or rich enough. That's what the mind does. It self-sabotages from childhood trauma that you've heard. Listen, Jenny, I'm going to tell you once, don't be silly. You can't go to college like your brother. You're not as clever as your brother. That sticks in the subconscious brain. So what happens is everything we see, touch, feel, everything from birth is stored in the subconscious brain. We forget nothing. Don't let anybody tell you different. I specialize in the neuroscience and neuroplasticity. We forget nothing. But what we do is when a decision's being made, our brain will recall that memory of the self-sabotage. You just go, well, I'm going this, it's going to be us. And how many times have I told you again? The mom's voice comes in there, and it is subconscious. So when you go for something, it's a plan A. Why the hell would you want a plan B? Do you want this or not? You're either in or you're out. You're either pregnant or you're not. There's no middle ground here. And everybody a couple of years ago in America used to say the same thing to me. Well, you can't be president of the United States. Let's forget the political views for a second. We had a businessman, albeit bad or good, I don't get into that, a businessman running the country as a politician. Why? The mindset. Because he believed he could do it, therefore everybody else believed he could do it. And that's the same with everything. There's nothing you cannot do. If you wanted to build an empire, all the guys that work with me don't build businesses, they build empires. How far can you push this? You're going to surprise yourself. Once you want to be. Does it make a difference in the world you're doing? Yes. Do you want it really badly? Yes. Have you set your mind up to do it? Yes. Then the only obstacle is you. So if you don't sort that childhood trauma, you will never be successful in what you personally want to do.
And I guess that's the first step when you work with someone is sorting that childhood trauma so they can overcome that hurdle, that wall that is just keeping them from progressing.
Without a doubt, and everybody has trauma. So you look at a baby, for instance, when we're born, we have two fears only: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. That's it. Everything else is man-made. Oh, wait till your father gets home. Oh my God, it's bullshit. You know, so as mindset is going through that family, entirety and family system, then that becomes the norm. The fear. Today's world is run by fear. You want to stop your 80% fear. You want to cut your fear down by 80%. Turn the TV off. Okay, everybody wants each other in fear. Fear is not real. You know, if you had an event of speaking in front of somebody and you actually get there to do it and you step on stage, the fear's gone. It's a preemptive based on childhood trauma. When somebody said somewhere, you can't do this. And the idea of that is to say, I'm going to prove you wrong. I was speaking to Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the late 70s, and I spent a couple of nights with him in a hotel. So I was trying to really talk to him and his mindset, because he'd just done an underground movie called Pumping Iron. He was nowhere near a megastar yesterday, but I asked him, I said, the bodybuilding is great, Arnold, but when this goes, what are you going to do? He said, I have a plan. Oh, more broken English than now. I have a plan. I said, what's the plan? He said, I have 3 things I'm going to do. So what do you mean you're going to do? You mean you hope to do? He said, no, I'm going to do. I said, okay, then what are they? And the first one, he said, I'm going to be governor of a state in America. And I said, okay. And then he said, preferably California. Check. The next thing he said was mind-blowing. He said, I'm going to become the highest paid movie star in the world. And I said, with greatest respect, Arnold, you can't freaking speak English. There's no way you can. I'm sorry, but you're not. I said, but out of curiosity, what's the third thing? And he said, I'm going to marry into the Kennedy family. Check, check, and check. He had no plan Bs around that. He focused purely on making sure that happens and taking steps towards that dream. And it's phenomenal. Everybody can do it. Everybody's a leader, by the way, guys. If you're sat in a one-bedroom apartment somewhere in the corner listening to this, don't know your life's up to anything, you're never going to do anything, you're never going to amount to anything, I want to apologize to you because somebody's put that there. We're born with $1 million minds. Why the fuck are you hanging around 10-cent minds? Stop it. Take yourself to a different frequency and start living life to the full.
I love that you said everybody's a leader, because I say the same thing as well every time. I probably on every single edition of this podcast, as I say that everyone can change the world with their actions every day. Everyone's a leader. Everyone needs to believe that they can make a difference in the world. I was the person that didn't for a long time. I was the person that thought, no, I'm too small. I'm one person. How can I make a difference? How can I have impact? So this is all fascinating to me, and thank you for sharing. The story is incredible of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I was always a big fan of him when I was younger, growing up in Southern California. But I know, obviously, first step, childhood trauma, address that. Once you are able to address that with someone, I'm curious, is it like a light switch that all of a sudden things just start clicking into place and they start having success, or how does it typically happen?
It gradually happens. Our program is 90 days, and the reason why it's 90 days because the brain chemicals take 90 days to all reset, and then to rewire the brain takes about 90 days. So, but you see a difference from day one, because you should see a difference. People come to me all the time, Rick, I've been seeing my counselor. Oh, really? How long? Oh, it's been 4 years now. What the fuck are you seeing a counselor for 4 years for? What are you achieving? If you see a counselor for an hour and they don't change your life within an hour, get another counselor. This is quick. This is fast. We can redirect straight away. Any thought patterns you can redirect now. So, guys, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give you an item not to think of, okay? And I don't want you to think about it. All right, this is a little mind trick. Whatever I say, don't think about it, think about something else. Don't think of an elephant. Oh, shit, too late. Whatever's placed into the voice, boom, through the ears, we visualize it straight away, which means that what we visualize, we can hold. What we visualize, we can be, But again, there is a change from day one, but you have to start believing. You have to start believing that you can be the best CEO in the world. So I had a guy who wanted to own a Porsche and a big house and be successful. So we built a website and we started, getting him ready for the 90 days that was over. I took him to the Porsche dealerships. We sat in the 911s at 150, 160,000. Then I took him to the big $1 million houses and we hung around there viewing them, ready to buy them. But the guy had about $20 in the bank. Over the period of them 90 days, his business started to boom. So when we took him back to the Porsche dealership, when he got in the car, he didn't freak out like the first time going, I don't belong here. No, the brain went, I recognize this. Yeah, this feels comfortable. Then we go and buy his house and his brain goes, oh yeah, we've been here before, it's comfortable. We have to get away from that fear. We have to get away from the imposter syndrome that most of us carry, especially when we start to be successful. It's like everybody thinks someone steps into success straight away. Nobody does. Most normal guys like me who've come from nothing wing it half the time. But they believe they can do it. And if you believe, other people will believe.
So how does that, one thing that, I've been on a personal growth journey for years, and I continue to learn every day and continue to grow and evolve and continue to work on my mindset and coach other people on their mindset. And I know that limiting beliefs creep in and imposter syndrome will creep in and things like that. How can we push back to those thoughts that creep in, or how can we overcome them? Because I'm guessing that even a person that you work with for 90 days, that once they quote unquote graduate and they go out into the real world, then the world's going to throw challenges at them, and they're going to, I would guess that some of that thinking is going to come back, and then they have to deal with it when it rears its ugly head. So how do you deal with it when, let's say you're like, okay, I'm on the right path. I believe, I know I'm going to be, multimillionaire, but then some struggle, hits you in the face.
It's all about perception. Okay, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. Okay, so self-sabotaging thought patterns will always try to arise because it's our original thought pattern. If you've been through trauma in your life, then the original thought pattern is, I can't do this, or that's impossible. If you're thinking it's impossible, put an apostrophe after the I. I'm possible. So this is what my guys do. They get up in the morning, every single morning, they look in the mirror first thing, and they say, I love you 10 times. It's stupid. Why do we do that? No, we're replenishing the subconscious brain. That's where the bad thought patterns start. They all wear a rubber band. So when they go down that neural pathway to self-sabotage, you snap the band, it resets the neural pathways in the central nervous system. Every single morning they get up 1 week on, 1 week off, and they brush their teeth with the opposite hand for a week. That sets off brand new neural pathways that are reset. So you can't take away self-sabotage, but it's a bit like the main freeway out of your city or town. Let's say it's 281 out of San Antonio. You've been used to going down 281 all of your life. You know the way, it's quicker, and it's just, you can do it with your eyes closed. What we train you to do is take all the service and back roads to the destination. So at the beginning, it might seem a little bit longer because it's quicker on the freeway, but the quicker freeway is self-sabotage. So we have to take you away. Once we do that switch, we connect neural pathways. Was what we do. Every single neural pathway to health, wealth, and success is already built in your brain. I'm going to say that again. Every single field for wealth, success, for health, whatever it is already in your brain. What we specialize in is connecting it. Once the neural pathways, and there are billions, are connected, they cannot be broken. So now, you said 100% self-sabotage, now you have a choice. When you come to anything, we stop, we pause for a bit, and then we choose the right answer. Because if we're rushing around, we're going to slip into old behavior and old thought patterns. Well, guess what? If you're acting out old behavior today, it's not old behavior, it's current behavior. So you just need to be mindful around all them routines that we do. And the more success you have, the more you start to believe in yourself.
That's incredible, and it seems so simple, but yet it's like sand that seems to fall through people's fingers just so easily, because it's something that we all can do, we all should do, but so much of that eludes us. So I'm curious, in your journey, obviously you've had training and dual PhDs and everything. Learning some of the things you're talking about, Dr. Robb, are these things that you were educated on in your training, or that you had to learn yourself in dealing with your own, trauma and getting, coming back from being homeless, or a combination of both? Or how did that occur for you?
It's kind of both. So I needed a psychology basis. I wanted to learn more because it was alcoholism and family, and nobody could fix it or cure it. So the basic knowledge of psychology was always good. But I got to tell you, 80% of my work is research and tests that we've done, because nobody else is doing this, by the way, because there's no money in recovery. There's no money in making people successful unless you're part of the company, unless the pharmaceutical companies can't give you a pill, or any centers for trauma or alcoholism can't take you in and earn 30 grand a month off you. Nobody wants to know you. So this is the thing you fall into. So 80% is experience and trials and tests that we've already done ourselves to prove that the mind is like plastic. And unless you've got brain damage or some crazy illness, if you're thinking properly, your health is good, every single body can change their life and be where you want to be. I mean, it's not rocket science. People think it is. Well, I cannot be that because I don't know. As childhood trauma bring you back again. So everything, I'm still learning today, Rick. I'll never be, I'm still fully teachable today. Somebody said you're the guru of neuroscience. No, I'm learning every day. The only reason that I know more than you is because I'm older than you. I truly believe that. I'm not the guru. I'm not something special. All I've done is I've researched over the 30 years and found out something that works for everybody. We work with the rich and famous and footballers and movie stars and all them guys. But what we do as well is 25% of our work is pro bono. Now, that pro bono is backed up for a year or so. We can't help that. But it's about balancing, that work so everybody else can do this. But, yeah, still learning. Just learned something today. My wife is a great teacher, by the way. She'll pull me on everything. I got friends around me that'll pull me. I remember doing an episode of The Doctors on TV, and they'd flew us over to Paramount Studios, and they pick you up with a chauffeur, and they take you there, and they look after you, and you've got an assistant already waiting for you, and I come off stage, and it was standing ovation, and everybody loved me that day. And I came off stage, and I snapped to my wife, "Where's my limousine?" is what I said. My wife is a quiet person, brought up in, Texas way, very, very kind, yes sir, no ma'am kind of lady. And she slapped me across the face. And she said, "If I ever hear you say that again, our marriage is over." Brought me right down again. So I learned that day to be more humble, to still have your feet in the trenches where I was, because I think that's being real. I'll never forget where I come from. Most of my work I do today, the pro bono work, I really enjoy that because I'm taking people from the gutter and grabbing them by the hand and lifting them up as quick as I possibly can.
Yeah, and that firsthand from being there yourself. And I got to say, I love that answer. I love that you're still learning, and you say that you still need to learn. And I want to meet your wife, by the way, because I think I would really like her. And I can appreciate the check that she gave you in that situation, because I've been married 27 years. This June will be 27 years, and my wife's the same kind of woman. Always teaches me things every day, keeps me in check. And I think we all need people like that in our lives. So I know you're a father like I am. You have 2 daughters. I have 3. Share how and I know that was the focus, of your book. But share how your daughters and your wife, how they played a role in helping you, to become who you are, and teaching you every day.
Well, my first wife, obviously that didn't end too well. There was a lot of things that happened in that house. I remember stabbing her 3 times because she wouldn't let me finish my vodka. I remember leaving my little children, ages 1 and 3, in cinemas while Daddy went for a drink, and the nearest liquor store was 5 miles away. I remember falling down the stairs on my 3-year-old and nearly killing her. All this stuff that happened. So eventually she left after the stabbing event. I flew to Spain. I came back 3 months later when all charges were dropped. And when I got back, she had all the bags packed, and she took my 2 kids, and she said, "I'll love you till the day I die, Rob, but you're not going to kill our children." And she left. And I was in this big house on my own. And of course, my ego at the time is like, you don't know who the fuck you're dealing with. So I got hold of my attorney, who got to court next morning, then brought my children back around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My thinking was, yeah, I told you can't mess with me. I put them in the living room for a second, turned the TV on and walked into the kitchen. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great to have one beer to celebrate my kids coming back? 2 days later, when the police kicked the door down, baby's not been fed or changed diapers for 2 days. Dad's in a drunken stupor and been to the liquor store so many times and left them babies on their own. They served me with unfit father papers. So as they're taking my children out, the eldest one's holding on to Mummy's hand as she's walking down the path, and she said 3 things to me. She said, Daddy, please don't go. After everything I put them through, so resilient. Daddy, please get better. And the last thing she said to me when opened the gate before they walked through the gate was, Daddy, please stop drinking. And I couldn't do it. So my youngest daughter, who's now 31, I've never seen since that day. So I've not seen her for 30 years. Now, my other daughter, I've still not seen for 28 years. 3 or 4 years ago, I got a message on Facebook from my daughter. I freaked out. It was like the middle of the night here. And it says, hey, Dad. I've never seen that written before, Rick. And I've never heard anybody call me Dad. So she said, I've seen you on TV over here. I don't believe what people say about you. So I flew over and I met her. When I knocked on the door, guys, and this is me being real, I knocked on the door, all that shit hit me in the past. What sort of father are you? You've never been in these children's lives. You know, you shouldn't be here. You don't deserve to be here. After all the work I'd done on myself, and she opened the door unexpectedly, and we held each other, we cried. And then she says, and this is me constantly working with people, Rick, you know, and then she said, I've got something to show you. She took me through to the living room and she handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter. But I had lost everything, you know, and built up again. And my current wife, that's the person that changed me. That's the person, after I got off the streets, I started making, you know, started working, got a little house over in the UK, and I came here 15, 16 years ago. And I've only met Janet about 10 years ago, but my life has improved with Janet being in my life. She encourages me, because at the end of the day, everybody has a bout of self-sabotage, whether you're going to go on stage, TV, you're going to, whatever you're going to do, there's a slight doubt. And she's around me sometimes. You know, I have my down days. I never have bad days. I have better days than others. But I have my down days, and she's always there. Which begs the question, do you need somebody in your life to succeed? I believe 100% yes. Because everybody's a genius, but everybody tamps us down. Remember when we were kids playing in the street, we would kick a soccer ball, you guys would throw football. Hey, Johnny, what do you want to be when you grow up? Want to be an astronaut. Okay, what about you, Billy? I want to be a pro footballer. What happened to them dreams? I'll tell you. They were kicked out of us by our family and friends. Don't be silly now, Johnny. You can't be an astronaut. Says who? You're not making the rules up. If you keep telling me I can't, then I'm not going to be one. But if you encourage me to be an astronaut, there's a good chance I'm going to be an astronaut. And that's where it all goes wrong for me. It's the childhood stuff that keeps coming back and haunting us every single time.
Well, I appreciate you sharing, sharing your heart and your soul. That's coincidentally enough, Dr. Robb, that's part of our criteria. We have an acronym for HERO, and that's part of, being a hero is that you open your heart to the world and you're not afraid to be honest and vulnerable. And so I think you've displayed all that, in our conversation. And I think it's so important that, we learn as you did from the highs and the lows of every experience, and family gives us more highs and lows than anyone else. Has been my experience in my life is that, you're not going to get that from any other place. I mean, you will get it from other places, but you're not going to get it at the intensity that you will with family, right? Whether it's your children or, like you shared or your spouse and, and those close to you. And I think that I agree 1,000% that, we need that support system. We need to have a partner. I think that's how God designed us. You go back to Adam and Eve to have a partner. And so I do believe that completely. One thing that you, just kind of kind of mentioned just as you were sharing is when you came to the U.S. So what brought you to the U.S.? I know, obviously you were living in the UK and but what brought you, what was in appealing about coming to the U.S.?
It was pure accident or God's work, whichever you look at it, because when the internet first came out, what was big when the internet first came out was chat rooms. So I ended up in this Christian chat room talking. And I met a girl over there who helped run church, biggest church in Plano, Texas, just outside Dallas. And they asked me to come over for 2 weeks to educate and teach and talk to the youth ministry, because there was a huge crack cocaine in Plano, Texas years ago. So I came over for 2 weeks. I had my 2 weeks bag, 2 weeks worth of money. And the minute I landed at DFW, I remember thinking I'm never going to go back home. Something's waiting here for me. So we did the 2 weeks, and then I was like into the 2 weeks and wanted to stay a bit more. And then a DVD company, an addiction DVD company, one of the biggest in the world, approached me. They saw me speak somewhere, because I was doing speaks in AA at the time, and they offered to sign me for like a 3-month contract with an extortionate amount of money being earned by me. And that's when I bought my first house. I decided to stay, and Texas, America, but especially Texas, has been very, very good to me. Sometimes, and I'm only kidding, guys, half kidding, it's too good, you know. I mean, through my life, I've seen miracles I shouldn't have seen. I have so many friends. My business is always blooming when I come to Texas. Life is good. I have everything I want and everything I need. I live the dream every single day. I have a saying from the past, because all I wanted to do when I was homeless is just live some sort of dream, you know? So now I'm living the dream. I'm not dreaming of living, is our phrase, because I remember walking past, it was Christmas and it was cold, and I had a big overcoat on and my shoes had snow in them, and I was walking down this side road, just half drunk, half not. I remember looking in this living room of a house, and there were like 2 or 3 kids there. There were 4 or 5 adults all sat around the table having Christmas dinner. And I said, God, if you could just give me 1 day of that, I'd be happy and die. I remember thinking that, and especially through the suicide attempts, and the 2 that actually worked, they found me dead on the side of the road and brought me back. The EMTs brought me back to life. I just think I was doomed to die. And I kept the faith. And then one morning, it was Sunday night, Monday morning, around 2 a.m., I was walking near the factories and the offices, no people, no cars, nothing, no houses. It was pouring down with rain, and I was walking, and all of a sudden I dropped down to my knees and I started to cry like a baby. Now think about this. The rain's coming down. It's hitting the back of my head. It's coming round to my eyes. My tears and the rain were hitting these cobblestones and turning purple. I wasn't crying because I lost my children or my family or my money. I was crying because the first time in my life I realized I couldn't stop drinking, and that I was really going to die. I looked up to the sky, and this is what I said. I said, if there is a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. 30 seconds later, a guy walked round the corner with a little Bible in his hand, and he said, do you want help? And I said, yes, I'm dying. He took me back to his house, and he said, you can stay here for as long as you want, man. Let's get you back on your feet. I shaved for the first time in 9 months, and I bathed for the first time in 8 or 9 months. So he took me to these meetings, and the first meeting he took me to was the next day, and I hated them. I was sat there with him, sort of half hungover still, no alcohol inside me, and I heard a guy, and he said, my name's John, I'm a recovered alcoholic. And I said, what did he just say? And I went over to him, asked him to sponsor me. He said, no, but I'll be your spiritual advisor for 12 weeks. And I went round to that man's house every Wednesday, left the house at 6, got there for 7, stayed with him till 8, walked back home for 9 for 12 weeks. My life changed with that person. He told me I'd be coming to America. He told me that I'm going to be leading people. He told me all this stuff. So after he said, your dad's going to change from tomorrow, Rob. I said, he can't change from tomorrow, John. I'm in this guy's basement on a blow-up mattress. Nobody knows I'm there. How the hell can he change? And the very next day, Derek came home and said, hey, the cleaner, the guys that sweep the factory floor has just packed in. Do you want a part-time job? And I said, yes. Turned into a full-time job. So my first pay packet a few weeks later, I went to the gas station and I bought a little teddy bear and I bought a card. And I wrote in the card, "Thank you, John, for introducing me to God, who took the compulsion away to drink." And I went back to that man's apartment, and there was nobody there. And I was knocking that loud. The right-hand lady opened the door and says, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, where's John moved to?" He said, "John? I've only been here for 6 months. There's been nobody in that apartment for 6 months." So I went to the left and I knocked on the door. A guy came to the door and I said, Where's John moved to? Now I'm pissed. "Where's John moved to? Don't give me any shit." He said, "John?" So why is everybody saying John? He said, and he explained he's been in that apartment for at least 2 years that he's been there. So I went back to the meeting and met him, and I said to the chairman, "Do you remember John?" He went, "John?" I said, "Yeah. I was over near the coffee machine, was talking for about 30 minutes. And he said, "No, Rob, but I remember you talking to yourself for 30 minutes. Never found that man. But all the teachings and practicing I do today is 90% based on that guy, what he taught me."
Wow. Incredible. Incredible.
And I would never tell that story, Rick, until about 2 years ago, because I thought people would think I'm crazy or making it up. But that's how this deal happened.
I'll share this with you. I don't think you're crazy. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing that. I know our audience will find that touching and will find that helpful for them in their journeys. And I always talk about, it's our stories that connect us all. That's what makes us, part of the human race, or the stories that we share with one another and the life's experiences. And something like that is so intense and so profound, and there's so much to be learned from your story there of resilience and belief and realizing that you couldn't do it on your own. And that resonates with me, knowing that you have to get to that place where you just surrender and let God take over. And then that's where everything can start changing, and hopefully others will see that for themselves, and they'll start to believe that. So thank you so much for sharing that story, Dr. Robb. That does mean a lot. Thank you.
Of course.
I know I feel like we could chat for so much longer, but I'll have to have you back for another episode. But I know our audience is going to want to learn more about you, learn more about your work and what you're doing. Where's the best place for them to connect? And
Well, if you're listening, guys, and not watching, my name is, I spell my name with 2 B's, so ROBBKELLY.com is the website. Jump on any Google search engine, anyone, but Dr. Robb Kelly, and you'll see all about us, all the platforms we're on. Say hi, send us a message. But listen, I know there are people out there that were in the psychological place that I was in at one time. If you think you never amount to anything, I want to apologize to you because somebody's put that there. That's not the truth. So if you're in that place, I would rather give you a 10-minute pep talk that will change your life than hear of your suicide. So here's the deal. 214-600-0210 is my personal cell phone number. Always text me first because obviously I'm crazy busy, but I will get back to you. I will give you a 10-minute pep talk that will change your life. And if it doesn't, I'm going to send you $100 for your time. It's a win-win situation for you. Because if you think today you're listening and watching this by mistake, you are very, very much mistaken. Again, when you Google me, don't be freaked out when you see all the stuff of, all the people I'm working with and being with and all the, we run a multi-million-dollar company, but feet are always in the trenches. Call me, guys. And if you don't want to call me, you're too nervous, just text me. Hey, this is Jimmy. Rob, heard you one thing. I'll text you right back and we'll have a good conversation. So just do it, guys. It's awesome. We're all in this stuff together, man. I say the problem with me and other businessmen is other businessmen try and keep people at bay because they're scared of you knowing as much as they. Me, I want you to be more successful than me. That would make my day, be more successful, and I want to help you to get there, So, yeah, not going to cost you anything. Give us a quick text. I'll text back. 10-minute talks, not going to cost you nothing.
Phenomenal offer. I can't say that anyone has ever given an offer like that on this show. So I urge my audience to take Dr. Robb up on that if you want to change your life. We'll put that in the show notes for sure. And yeah, I can see why you do what you do and how passionate you are, Dr. Robb. So thank you very much. I do have to ask the final question that we ask all our guests on this show, because we do believe that we are changing the world and we are making a difference. So our goal at iSpark Change is to positively impact 1 billion with a B, people in the next 5 years through our community and our future social impact social media platform, world's first, by the way. So we need the help of leaders like you to show others the way, because many people feel, as I once did, that they're too small to make a difference. So I value your thoughts and opinions, obviously, as a social impact hero. So I want to ask you to peer into the future, peer into the iSpark Change crystal ball, and tell our audience, what can the world become if everyone starts to believe that they can be successful, they can have an impact on that future, and just change that mindset?
Huge difference in society itself, huge difference with the way we act, talk, love, hold, generosity. Most people with marriages break up because of lack of money. It's horrible. When you be successful, you start feeling good. And listen, if you don't believe me, guys, here's the deal. When you live in a built-up area of people, and you see some guy with nice sneakers on, sneakers are always best. When you walk past and go, hey man, nice sneakers, and then watch him walk away from you, he'll look down 2 or 3 times at your sneakers. You just made his day. So the more we believe we can be successful as human beings, as a society, the world would have less problems. The world would have less hate in it. The world, like, you probably get haters. I've got like 3 out of all the millions of people that know me. You'll never meet a hater that's doing better than you. So God bless them, bring them in, love them, pray for them, and let's all move forward as a generation today. Whether you're 17 or 70, it makes no difference. We can change one person at a time. We can love one person at a time. We can compliment one person at a time, and it will spread through. And I'm telling you now, Rick, that number is going to happen in less than 5 years, without a doubt. And while we're on the subject, because I know we've come to the end, Rick, I want to thank you for what you do. Nobody says anything anymore. Oh yeah, right. He knows he's good. And no, we don't. So thank you for what you do. And secondly, this can be a lonely journey sometimes. Thank you for all the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people with the ripple effect that you have helped. I know when I met you, we were supposed to meet. And the only thing I didn't like about you was your age and the way you look. They didn't compute in my brain, of course, hence the saying straight away. I blurted that out because I was like, there's no way. But yeah, there you go, man. So thank you for walking the walk and talking the talk.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Robb, not just for the age comment, but for sharing your heart and wisdom with our audience. Those are truly wise words. I know you've impacted, hundreds of millions, if not a billion yourself. And, thank you for being on the show. You came in, you over-delivered as I knew you would. Your passion is evident. You are filled with a desire to help others, and you lead with a heart of service and gratitude, which tells me you are going to continue to have success in all facets of life. This is only the beginning of your time as an iSpark Change social impact hero. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Rick. It's an absolute pleasure. And thank you guys for listening. I hope to see you soon.
All right, Impact Heroes, it's our stories that connect us all. We love hearing Dr. Robb's today. Dr. Robb Kelly, you're not only an inspiring and amazing human being, you truly are an iSpark Change social impact hero. We'll see you all next time.
Remember, Impact Heroes, every positive action can be a spark moment that has a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the initial act. So go out there and spark change. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, then please smash that 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. We value your comments and we want to hear from you in the community. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and we'll see you next week on the iSpark Change podcast.